We still have Stephen Hartman, who's the founding executive director of UNESCO Most Bridges Coalition, who's going to give us his brief ideas on educational solutions, after which we'll go to closing remarks by Peter Schlosser and Gary Jacobs. So over to you, Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Grant, and thank you to the World Academy of Art and Science and for organizing this important conversation. In the interest of time, because I know that we've run over the 2 hours that had been planned here, I had intended to develop a line of thinking that I can bracket for the time being. And if we do move over into a more informal discussion after this part of the program, happy to revisit that. But I think what I'll do now is just to very, very quickly try to emphasize in outline form how this event has come together and is nested in a sequence of interrelated activities that many of the partners in this room right now and on this Zoom call right now have been collaborating on for a much longer time. And so I would emphasize, going back to our efforts in 2024, coming together with Global Futures, with the Bridges Coalition, with the World Academy of Art and Science, with UNESCO, and a dozen other partners. We put together an event on mobilizing the outcomes of the Summit of the Future in September, from idea to action and impact was the framing of the entire event. And that is continuing into this year, and I believe feeds directly into both the root causes and solutions to the Great Social Turbulence side event that happened in Baku in the middle of March, which itself is a platform for the discussion that we've had today. And we know it will be continuing in more detailed form and in further iterations moving forward. This itself also aligns with an event that's happening today at ASU, Key Insights in Education for Planetary Futures, which has been getting planned since much earlier this year as co-sponsored by the Global Futures Laboratory, by the UNESCO Bridges Coalition, and the G-Forces project of the Teachers College at ASU, and which collected almost 100 submissions on suggestions for what was notable about the development of education for planetary futures this year that deserves to be highlighted and editorially curated, and will continue, is expected to continue through an editorial and curatorial process moving into the second part of this year that we expect will have outputs during Climate Week in New York, during the COP, we hope, in Brazil in November. And that was seen as being braided really with the discussion on global turbulence that is being led in this discussion. And we saw that discussion, the discussion we're having now, having notable implications on the kinds of solutions from an educational point of view that can be highlighted in the Key Insights for Education on Planetary Futures as an ongoing project. What I want to sort of step back from that and indicate that many of the same partners, WAS, certainly Global Futures, UNESCO Bridges, Globe Ethics, are coming together now also in events that have been approved for the Global Forum on the Ethics of AI in Bangkok, Thailand, between the 24th and the 27th of June. Both with the Global Forum. This is the third sort of chapter or iteration of the Global Forum on the Ethics of AI. It takes its starting point from the groundbreaking UNESCO recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence and the readiness assessment methodology framework that was set forward in that groundbreaking recommendation on AI ethics. So we will be coming together. We expect to be coming together, many of the partners here yet again in June, around both a side event, a half day possibly going into a second day site event that's now in the co-designing with UNESCO and with the Kingdom of Thailand on enabling ethical AI for present and future generations at a time of heightened global insecurity, where again we see this turbulence discussion and the focus that we have in this discussion coming together with education and the importance of education as a tool and as a means of actually generating the capacities, the social capacities we need to be meeting the major sort of social system and ecological system challenges that we find now as we move into the second quarter of the 21st century. In addition to that, there will be a UNESCO, as part of the main program in the Global Forum, focus on environment and ecosystems and policy pathways to reach nature positive AI. The implementation of AI and the ethical implementation of AI and the creative implementation of AI towards meeting the significant ecological challenges that are being faced in the world now and that we know are going to become even more critical in the future, particularly if we don't find ways of changing trajectory. This aligns with, I think, the fast track trajectories initiative that ASU's Global Futures Laboratory has led, and which is a continuation of the Global Futures conferences that happened 2-3 years in a row in New York over the last few years. And we see all of these different partners and all of these different focuses, not as distinct, but as interrelated and braided. And therefore, we're working in this context together with our colleagues, Iveta, who had to leave to actually start one of the sessions on key insights in education for planetary futures that's going on. There's a couple of sessions in that going on online today. We see all of these coming together, coalescing, and will be an important part of, I think, the outcomes, the outputs, and the creative solutions that we're going to be working on over the next year. So I haven't gone a lot into the education, although I'm happy to do that if we have time later, just to develop this additional line of thinking about the ways in which education is contributing. But what I will say is that in the areas of ethical public communication, in critical analysis and translation of generative AI outputs for great public utility in addressing pressing social, economic, and ecological issues, and particularly in the application to urgent needs in the care and management of social environmental systems on which global populations, human and non-human, depend for survival and flourishing now and in the future. We can be using AI and we can be preparing educational systems at various levels to be addressing the ecosystemic challenges, the challenges of species extinction, loss of biodiversity, but also cultural extinctions, loss of cultural diversity, loss of knowledge coming from cultural losses, knowledge that inhibit our, the loss of which would inhibit our abilities to carry out systemic regeneration in the case of depleted environments, and the nurturing of future flourishing and the building of resilience in the case of regenerated environments. So this is the focus that I think that we're really interested in going in, especially with the AI connection, which is so prominent for very good reasons these days. And so that's a taste of how I'd hope to be able to develop these thoughts with maybe a few more minutes. But this is an ongoing discussion, and I look forward to continuing it and having an opportunity with all of you to be developing these ideas co-creatively and finding solutions together. So thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Hopefully we have some time for the people that can stay on for a deeper dive on that.